Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, I'm Senthil Kumar Ganesan. For those who don't know me, I'm from Dell Technologies. I'll be presenting this talk. My colleagues Andres and Venkat are available on Zoom to answer any question. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for your time, and I hope you find it useful. And I'm happy to answer any question as we go along. So, it's been close to a decade we started this open networking journey in Dell, right? And we have been in the SONiC journey since its inception. Since then, SONiC has gained steady momentum as a cloud-scale networking operating system. So these people who are here, they're already familiar about all those things, right? Because of its community-driven approach and a modular approach, right? Over the recent year, SONiC is given the cloud customers have the benefited from consistent user experience, unified automation, and software portability across various network platforms. So it started with hyperscalers, as you've seen, and then it penetrated to service providers and web scalers, and then to the enterprises. So now the data center is fully penetrated between all the areas in the SONiC community. So now SONiC is going beyond the data center. So this talk is about that and where we are seeing those use cases. As part of Dell, we are seeing tremendous interest and requests coming from the field for SONiC serving in various different use cases. Also, we see SONiC going beyond data center in other open source communities as well, like TIP and other places. So these are the top use cases we see as part of SONiC going beyond the data center use cases. The first one being the cloud router. We are observing a shift in cloud networking. Most organizations are making substantial commitments to the public cloud infrastructure to increase their pace of innovation and drive new business. Implementing a basic network functionality in a cloud provider network is relatively simple, but if you want to deep down and add depth of features across various CSPs, it's kind of getting more and more difficult for everyone to do that, right? And then the services cost is also increasing. So it lacks a unified management and observability between different clouds. So that's where SONiC can take a role. And then you have seen all the proprietary vendors already have their cloud router as part of the marketplace item. So SONiC is a good place to start there. So this use case has been coming as to again and again, SONiC becoming the virtual cloud router in all the cloud, in a marketplace in Azure SONiC. So that's what we see as part of it. And this is one of our hackathon presentation as well. If you want to deep dive, see it in action, come, we can show it out live to you as well. Right, and then this requires a lot of changes, right? So as organization moves from to edge colo, right, this problem gets multifolded. So they need a unique, the same consistent experience all the ways to manage all those things. And then this requires changes in SONiC as well, right? It's not that SONiC can directly go there. So what kind of changes are required, right? So SONiC, I heard the next talk is SONiC and VPP. So we need a VPP data plane in SONiC. So from this architecture, SONiC is kind of moving towards a single container approach in a control plane and a data plane going to a data plane container separately. So this is what we are seeing, at least the way it is evolving, because you need to do it in the edge. So you cannot go big with all the containers and everything. So because it has to connect from edge to colo to things. So we are seeing this as, so this is what we have done as, if you look at SONiC community, the VS image, right, it's already a single container, right? So that's how it comes out, it spits out. So you have a single container and you have a VP data plane. I heard there's a next talk on VPP data plane. So that's what brings you this use case as a virtual appliance, right? So you can deploy in a marketplace in Azure, AWS, and then you can connect in your on-prem. Now you have a common denominator across all your network, and you have the same security policies you apply across all the network. So that's the first use case. The next big one we are seeing is the telco use case, right? And starting with virtual cell site router, which is similar to the cloud router concept. So if you are in a RAN network, the distributed unit where they have all the cell site routers connecting all the radios to the distributed unit. So here you have SONiC goes into the server itself because they don't want to maintain yet another device there. So they are either looking for a virtual cell site router or a cell site router which is also offloaded to DPU along with the UPF functions and other stuff. So that's one of the common use cases we hear again and again from the telco operators that they are looking for a virtual cell site router solution. And then the distributed GCSG, so this is already happening, a subgroup inside SONiC. If you're not familiar with it, join the DCSG community subgroup. So you can look into those use cases which are coming along in that area as well, right? Apart from that, telco, we have seen TIP, OOPT subgroup. They have taken SONiC to their project implementing a packet optical transport network as well, right? But the way they did it is a little different, but I wish that that changes a little bit. You can see they have taken a microsonic and they have a tie layer separately controlling the optical network piece of it. So they have a unified management layer because NetConf is a major requirement there. Additionally, along with that, they have, that's how the Goldstone is using this project. Again, you would have recently heard Alibaba talking about in network at scale, recently happened last week, how they're deployed. Even in the SONiC TSC meeting, they showcased how they're doing the entirety of telco operating system, starting from the PE router to transponder, everything being used by SONiC, right? So telco is a big use case. Watch out for this space. Now, this is the next big thing which is going for SONiC. The cloud router is coming next, but at least this is what we see as a major, from Dell, this is what we see as a major thing going in telco. The next one is the edge and access set of use cases, which is already, from Dell side, which is already in production in multiple places. Unlike other use cases, this doesn't require a lot of changes in SONiC itself. It's basically additionally adding the feature set required for the use cases for the campus network, being it supporting an half-duplex mode or being supporting it variety of low-end platforms, right? So this requires SONiC to trim down a little bit because SONiC is the heavyweight. For the low-end platform, it's kind of really hard. So it has to compress in a little bit finer footprint. That is the only change we are seeing in this space for architectural change when it comes to the campus or access edge, right? So we have additional feature set we needed, .NX, Power over Ethernet, those kind of features. But architecturally, it's exactly the same. There's nothing much been added to this one. So it's basically adding a couple of more containers to support this use case for the branch edge and campus edge. The next one is the core network. It's not only core network, the distributed disaggregated chassis. I remember that OCP, Microsoft have a talk, and even Broadcom gave a talk about DDC. And DDC is actually taking in telco as well as thing, as also in the data centers for the spline leaf architecture, right? But this requires a major change in SONiC architecture, right? So now you have 3 different SONiCs running in your supervisor, a different set of control plane running in your supervisor. It can run in a server, and spine, it's a different set of SONiC feature set, and a leaf layer, it's a different set of SONiC feature set, right? So you have those various kind of SONiC feature set changing between these layers to support this disaggregate, right? That's a change which is needed for doing this kind of architectural change to support this use case, the core network use case, right? So all the small pictures you're seeing, I was trying to reduce it, saying that it's a minimal footprint SONiC, which is going into this leaf switches like a line card kind of way, right? So you don't need the entire SONiC to be coming down. And that's the core network use case. And the final use case I'm going to talk about is the appliance. So this is kind of crazy because SONiC provided a platform to everyone, giving a basic platform to provide. So because SONiC supports more than 100+ platforms, right? So whoever did the packet brokers, a load balancer before, so they don't have to do a platform bring up again. Right? SONiC gives you the platform, Linux, and platform bring up. All they need to have is additional piece of thing so that they can implement a packet broker or a firewall or a load balancer kind of appliance, right? We have seen so many use cases where it is going in a casino or a tight printed, so they can turn into anything they want, and that's what they love about SONiC, right? So as they maintain their servers, they are monitoring each and every file change which is happening. They want to install SNOR, they want to do all those third-party applications to it. But one such application here is a security appliance we recently saw with a customer. They want to do a distributed firewall, right? It's a regular leaf spine architecture. So they did SONiC in their servers as well as SONiC in their leaf switches and the border leaves. By the east-west firewall is implemented in the TAR switches, and the north-south and the NAT and those things are happening in the border leaf, and they're using a firewall builder, which is a controller which can manage and the distributed firewall across the thing. So they're able to implement the complete firewall appliance, right? The appliance thing is a big thing, but that is so many use cases coming as part of the appliance use cases. So you see that as part of the appliance, so the next step is dash. We have dash calls also. So the SONiC is going to the DPU. Again, it is a limited footprint SONiC which is needed and a virtual appliance. So those are the changes required to support this kind of architecture. So taking away all those different containers, shrinking it. So those kind of architectural changes is what is required for these things. Finally, we see the penetration of SONiC. As you see, the bar is full in data center. As far as Dell is concerned, we are full in access as well. So we have fully completed there. So now we see aggregation and optical network is just started. Core, they're just doing trial. There's nothing in production. Cloud is just started. I have seen a couple of vendors trying to do a cloud router with SONiC. So those are the use cases we see. So we'll see in a couple of years, I want to see the ball go full all black for SONiC. So that's what we want to see, right? In summary, SONiC is evolving beyond the data center. As you can see from the keynote speeches in the last couple of days, every keynote speech touched upon SONiC. You can see every operator, every talk we are talking to, so SONiC is going big. So join the journey, enjoy the ride. While doing so, we have a couple of requests to the community, right? So keep the architecture modular, right? As we start doing all this kind of new use cases, right? So we have to keep the architecture modular, not to stay in course. Otherwise, it's going to be really getting difficult. And we also don't want to see the bifurcation or forks of SONiC, right? So what we want to see is have a centralized system, but coming up with a build ecosystem where it can spit out different builds, versions for a campus build or a data center build or a telco build kind of thing, right? With the same set of services. You enable different set of services for a different set of application. So that is what we want the community to help us out. So let's join hands. Let's take SONiC beyond the data center. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed my talk. If you have any questions, I can answer you. Yeah.
So you said you have the solution for the access level, those features like .1x, port security, and other stuff. Are you going to push them back to the community, or this is the Dell specific only?
Right now it is there in Dell specific thing, but the plan is to come back to the community, right? Wherever it is needed, wherever we see the need, we'll contribute that.
And if I may, the second one, you also said that, I mean, it's obvious that for the access side, it's needed to be smaller footprint or even much smaller footprint. If you can share, what is the smallest footprint you can fit SONiC to?
No, we have run, depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? So we have been able to fit SONiC in a 1 gig RAM as well, right? So we are able to trim it down to that level. You can go a little bit bigger also based on what application needed, table sizes, everything. We are trying to reduce the footprint of SONiC so that it can run in a lowest level of box to the bigger boxes as well.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions online?
Hey, this is a very interesting topic. Is there a plan to upstream those microsonic configuration onto the community SONiC?
That is, we have not decided on that yet. So we'll see whenever there is a need, we'll talk about it. That's what I would say.
So yeah, definitely interesting to hear what needs to be broken down, and what are the optimizations you have in mind that help help to achieve even smaller footprint going forward.
Definitely, we can discuss in the community, right? So as this is a community project, so we love to contribute from Dell side.
Sounds great.
So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Yeah.
If you have no other questions, thank you.